Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Now, this one's a little bit different. There's no racing in this video. It's pretty much me talking. So, if you don't like the sound of my voice or don't like this moneymaker, then switch off. Now, if you're still here, you'll know that I'm a racer. That's what I do. I love racing, no matter what the car, what the series. But that means I'm very much jack of all trades, master of none. In sim racing, I haven't really won anything. I won the Indy 500 once, which was pure luck. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and I was helped along the way with chat because I was live streaming it. But I hadn't put any work into trying to win it. I just won it by chance. So I'm one of those also ran guys. As a lot of us are, we're just there, we're racing, we make up the numbers. And I'm perfectly fine with that as long as I'm having fun. But on my day, I could find some reasonable pace and be competitive in the top split. But I've never have been and never will be like on an esports level. But on a good day, I can hold my own. So last season, I started driving the GT4s a bit more regularly. And after a few weeks, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do every race this season and see where I stack up in Division 1. Now, if you don't know, depending on what your iRating is, you are assigned a division. So to be in Division 1, the top division, at the end of the previous season, your iRating has got to be 3,500 or above. The lower the iRating, the lower down the divisions you go. And every week when you do your race, you will see your iRating gain. But at the very far right, you will see championship points. Now, the championship points is determined by the strength of field for the race. So the higher the strength of field, the more points you will gain. So, for example, if I won a race and the strength of field was 4,000, I would get more championship points than if I won a race and the strength of field was 2,000. But because I race Monday to Friday through the day here in the UK, the strength of field for the races isn't that high. It tends to be higher evenings and weekends. Yes, I could be racing against some really fast guys with, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7k iRating. But if there's only a couple of them, well, the strength of field tends to be a little bit lower. So I'm never going to get the most championship points. And realistically, because of that, I'm never going to win the Division 1 championship. Now, last season in the GT4 series, in Division 1, I finished P13, which I think is quite respectable for somebody who races Monday to Friday through the day and the strength of field isn't that high. So P13, I'm really happy. And I wanted to be on the main results page. And I think that's 25, per page. So mission accomplished. And in that season, I was driving quite well. My pace was pretty good. I was getting race wins, podiums, top fives, battling with some guys that I wouldn't usually be able to battle with. And then I thought, how can I compete with these guys if I can't race them every single time? And the answer is time attack. Now, I only picked this up halfway through the season, so I was playing catch up. And on iRacing, there are many different time attacks. There are car-specific time attacks. So, for example, you've got the F3 time attack where you would drive that one car the whole season. And the tracks in the time attack are the tracks that you would race every single week. But the time attack I chose was the GT4 time attack, which meant you could change cars depending on which track you were driving, therefore choosing the car that suits that track the best. Now, as I mentioned, I started this probably halfway through the season when I knew I had reasonable pace and I knew that if I put the effort in, I might not be too far off. So this is the GT4 time attack that we've just taken part in last season. And as you can see there, it says the competition has ended. Now, one important thing to note is that the track state always stays the same. It never moves. Same track temp, same levels of grip. You can't adjust anything with the car. It's completely fixed. The fuel never goes down, although you do get tyre wear. Now, when I picked this up halfway through the season, there was only one guy that had completed it, somebody called Dave Goodwin. And you can look at their iRating, and I think Dave's iRating was about 2,000, 2,100, something like that. And I thought, do you know what? I could probably have a good go at beating this fella. So let's have a look and see how we got on. So we'll go on the first track, Barber Motorsports Park. Now, I did quite well during the race week here at Barber, and I ended up driving the Mercedes. So we'll have a look at the results. So for this competition, we just missed out on the fastest time. Now, this guy here, this Guglielmo Caligari, right, let's have a look at him. And this is what you get in time attacks. So if we go to licenses, so you can see his iRating is 1,368, like mega fast. If we go to his stats, there's no races there. Well, there's one one road retired. He got the pole position. That must have been one of these endurance events down here. So there's only 2 races here that he's done. 1 sports car, 1 road retired. So we've got the 12 Hours of Sebring, Daytona 24. So this is obviously somebody's Smurf account, using for practice, time attacks, that kind of thing. So he's going to feature quite heavily in these time attacks. So we just beat this guy. We beat Dave by quite some margin. But then later on, this guy started appearing. This Nils Shot. And if we look at his iRating, so it's 5,091. And he's not that active either. So you can pick this up whenever you want. And this isn't a one-shot thing. So if we didn't do well here, we could have returned to this later on, which is what I had to do at a couple of other tracks. So I was quite happy, though, at the end of the season to finish 0.002 of a second behind Nils. And we only did 8 laps because it was a track that I was quite strong in during the race week. Now, we'll go on to the next one, which is Laguna Seca. Now, this is where I really struggled. I couldn't get a time in here. So again, we got beaten by this guy. We had to revisit this. We're probably 0.4 behind him. And I thought that he was going to be my main competition. But we ended up just over 0.2 behind Jaden, who finished the week on top. But we ended up with a 1:28.1. So we were 0.2 down on him. But we were closer to this guy. And you can see there, we did put the work in, 55 laps. The guy who finished at the top only did 5 laps, but we had 55 and we were still almost 0.2 off. So we'll go back to this one, Sebring. Again, I struggled here a bit, although I didn't do too bad during the race week. But this Guglielmo, he was flying. And as you can see there, I'm absolutely miles off his time. We did 24 laps. So it's over 2 minutes, well, 2 minutes 10 per lap. So there's a lot of time gone in to this time attack. And you can see there, Dave Goodwin, he managed a 2:10. So I was happy beating him. He was the only guy at this point that completed the time attack. But then we had Luke Gillis. We had Frederick Follestad. These guys all appeared, and I thought, it's not going to be as easy as I thought. So then on to the next one. Again, we're picking different cars every single week. So Road Atlanta, I didn't do too bad at Road Atlanta. We finished P2 overall, but we beat Guglielmo by 0.5. And we only needed 16 laps, but you can see there, Luke did 92. The beauty of this is you can just put as much time in as you want. There's no time limit. You just do it throughout the whole season. So then from Road Atlanta, we've got Mid-Ohio. Now this was a pain in the backside. Although when I did the race, I won the race. I did 1 race that week, but I really struggled for pace around Mid-Ohio. And I actually returned to this in the last week of the season and managed to find another 2.5 So I was 2.5 slower. In fact, I think it was a 28 flat. I think that was my time, a 28 flat. And I managed to get it down to a 27.7. But again, look who's at the top of the timing charts. The guy with 1.3 Ki rating. So you know it's a Smurf. But again, we've got these 2 other guys that have appeared that are obviously rapid. And Dave Goodwin there, just behind me. So then we've got Spa. And I felt quite comfortable at Spa. And we beat Mr. Caligari by 0.5 again. But again, we were beaten by Frederick Follestad. Now, this was a common theme. Absolutely rapid. But we only did 6 laps. I think I'd peaked. So Spa went really well. Then Alton Park. We finished second behind Frederick, but we beat Mr. Caligari by 1/10 and a bit, nearly 1/10.5. But again, I put 32 laps in there. I really struggled. So then on to the Nürburgring Combined. Now, I felt quite comfortable during the race week here, but these are long laps. You've got to put the work in to get good around the Nürburgring. And we did 21 laps around here, and we were still a second off Nils' fastest time. But my main objective here was to try and get a big gap back to this guy, Mr. Caligari. But when I did this, I was the top. Nils wasn't there. So I thought it was me and him. And you'll have noticed that I've not even won 1 single time attack round yet. And how many have we done? We've done a load. Then on to Imola. Now I go quite well around Imola, no matter what the car. I really like the circuit. Well, we're just pipped to top spot by Nils again, but we absolutely battered Mr. Caligari here by a 1/10.5 again. So we're increasing that gap. But he'd beat us in previous rounds. And we only needed 8 laps. And this guy did 75. So then from Imola, we've got Aragon. And again, we weren't at the top. P3. Almost 3/10 off the top spot. Nils got that one. But again, 73 laps for Nils. We did 20. And that was enough. But Nils wasn't there. Again, Nils wasn't there. It was between me and him. And I was happy being half a tenth off him, having gained what we gained at the Nürburgring. So then on to Zandvoort. Now, I really struggled here at Zandvoort. And this is the best I could do. 0.174 of a second behind Mr. Caligari. He was flying. I did 32 laps. I just couldn't get it. And then from there, we have got the last round at Algarve. Now, this is the only round that I actually won. So out of all those 12 time attack rounds, I only won 1. And we just pipped that guy into P2. So you might be wondering where we finished at the end of the season now. We only won 1 time attack. We were quite competitive throughout the 12 weeks, I thought. But let's have a look and see where we finished. We actually won the time attack by just under 2/10 from Nils' shot. In total, we did 323 laps. But look at Nils, 685 laps. He's put the work in. Let's have a look at Nils' profile. This is the guy that we looked at earlier on. It is 5,091 iRacing, so no slouch. So this is the only thing that I've won on iRacing where I've actually put the effort in and had the opportunity to compete against other sim races where it's a level playing field, where the strength of field of the race doesn't matter. Yes, I know we're not racing, it's hot lapping, but I'm going to take that. And because we won, we got a certificate from iRacing. Was all that work worth it? First place, GT4 Time Attack 2024 Season 2. Was it worth it? I think it was. I do feel like I've achieved something strangely. But I've got to tell you, it was one of the most difficult things that I've had to do, but I was hooked. I was always looking to see how everybody was doing, where I was dipping behind, where I might need to improve. If I'm going to do this again next season, I will probably do it week by week. So whatever week we run at a particular track, I'm going to focus on the time attack as well. See what other people are doing, see what cars they're driving, see which is the strongest car. Because I tried some of the cars at some of the tracks during this time attack, and I wasn't getting anywhere near the time. So it's really important you know which car suits which track. But after almost 7.5 years on iRacing, I can finally say that I've won something that I've set out to win. In the Season 2 2024 time attack, I wasn't an also-ran. I was the championship winner. And it just added a different element to my sim racing experience. Gave me something that I didn't have. Gave me something else to focus on. So I don't know what time attack I'm going to do next season. It might be a specific car. It might be a series. I don't know. But I'll let you guys know if you want to try and jump on board and we can all compete together in that one particular time attack. Maybe the TCR? Who knows? But have you won your division at some point? Have you won a time attack competition? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great week. See you later. Cheers.